what do we really want here? And what we want is people to think. We want thinkers, right? We want people who are going to solve business challenges with ideation and creative solutions and creative communication techniques. And so when you think about that, you think, why? People who ask why. So I have a 6-year-old and she asks why a million times a day, right? And parents can relate to this. There's a period of time with your children that they ask why about everything, and they ask so many questions because that's how they're learning and growing. And at some point in our lives, we stop asking questions. We're used to just raising our hand in class. We're used to having to kind of stand in line. We're used to being told to be quiet, and we stop asking questions, and we become less curious as we become adults. And so as a business owner, what I've seen is that people enter the workforce and they want to do a good job. They want to do the right thing. They want to be taskmasters and to-do lists, right? And they want to make sure they're doing a good job. But that's not going to create the best creative output, right? The greatest creative work, the greatest communications work, the best brain communications work that we're going to produce is by really curious, engaged team members who are learning about their partner's business in an intimate way.
Welcome to Grow Think Tank. This is the one and only place where you will get insight from the founders and the CEOs of the fastest growing privately held companies. I am the host. My name is Gene Hammett. I help leaders and their teams navigate the defining moments of their growth. Are you ready to grow?
Today we talk about culture, specifically why culture matters so much if you want a fast growth company. Our special guest is the CEO of The Partnership. They're a digital marketing, PR, integrated, full service business. And we talk about some of the things that are going on in marketing, but we get really into why culture matters. Amanda Lucey is that CEO, and she really is a powerhouse. We talk about how she uses values as a way to align people together. You think you'll really enjoy some of those conversations, but also we look at why culture matters for fast growth companies and how she creates her brand as a culture, her culture brand, if you will. All of this inside today's episode. And if you have any questions about your own journey, your own team, your own development, if time is getting in the way and you want to get more done, all of these things happen by looking and self-reflecting on what's going on. Now, I say this because I want you to really understand what I do as an executive coach and the leadership development professional for my clients. I help you see what you can't see for yourself. I help you see where you're stuck. I help you see where your thinking is out of alignment with what you want to create. Now, it may be perfect in alignment, and I believe it is perfectly in alignment with what you're creating right now. But if there's things that aren't going the way you want them to, whether the team is not aligned, everyone's overwhelmed, or you're trying to attract top talent, no matter what it is, there's something that you're not understanding. And my job over the last 10 years is working with teams and partnering with them to figure out exactly what that is. If you want to have a conversation about what's going on in your business, absolutely free, just go to genehammett.com, schedule your call, and I'd love to talk to you about what's going on in your business. What you'll get out of it is clarity and absolute confidence about what to do next. I will give you the keys to the castle. All you have to do is go to genehammett.com and schedule your call today. Now, here's the interview with Amanda. Amanda, how are you?
Doing great. How are you?
I am fantastic. Excited to have a conversation with you about the culture of your company, The Partnership. Before we dive in, let's get an idea of your company. So tell us about The Partnership.
So The Partnership is Atlanta's oldest privately held marketing and brand communications agency. We do public relations, we do website design, development, brand strategy for large and small brands. And I acquired The Partnership 4 years ago. We had a 4-year buyout, and I was started as an entrepreneur a little over 10 years ago, but The Partnership is older than me. We've been in the market for over 43 years.
Wow, that's pretty amazing. I was in PR and marketing in 1990. So that was 33 years ago. So they were around before me.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I was an intern in college. Didn't get paid for any of the work. I just thought it was fascinating, and it was a fun place to be. Tell me a little bit about marketing as you see it today. I always like to ask a little bit about the business because I want everyone to tune into what you think people are misunderstanding about marketing in today's world.
Marketing is integrated now. traditionally, when you went to school, you went to university, you would have a marketing degree or you'd have a PR degree. And, back in the day, I remember in journalism, there was tracks for television and radio and print, but everything's integrated now. And it's so important that you can manage the message. The core comes down to what kind of message are you trying to get out, right? And to your key constituents. And so I think that people sometimes, when they think about marketing, they think advertising, right? But they don't necessarily think about the integrated component and how important marketing and PR really connect now. And so that's where I feel like we're really special, and something that we offer is that integrated approach.
So where is it going over the next 3 years?
Well, digital, of course, is where everyone is. I think that marketing is evolving. AI has changed the space a lot. And I would say that, really marketing agencies are more consultancies now. So in the past, it's not the Mad Men days anymore. It's important that we're listening and we're learning and pivoting to meet our partners' business challenges. We call our clients partners. But, I think the future of marketing is very much a consultancy approach. And those that are able to move quickly and pivot and change quickly are going to survive and thrive.
I love the fact that we seem aligned around this marketing thing. And I talk to a lot of clients about it, even though it's not my core business inside of executive coaching, but it is something that I'm fascinated with. A lot of my clients have been in the marketing world. But I want to dive in, Amanda, a little bit about, what made your company get to this place where you are. I know you're not alone, 30 plus employees that all have to have their own skills, expertise, their ability to drive results, move the needle. So what do you think has made you guys grow so fast?
So it's all about the people. The people have to be the center and foundation of everything you do. And I was fortunate to acquire a company from a wonderful human being, a man who I actually had hired when I was client side. He was the owner and founder of the partnership when I acquired it. And we had a really fantastic business transaction, a wonderful transition that was really smooth. And that meant two companies, because I was an entrepreneur, right? I owned a marketing and PR agency at the time, which was much smaller, but merging the two of those was all about the people. And at the center of that is the culture, and we had two different cultures because they've been established and around for so long. And we were very much more of a small, gritty agency at the time, more of a startup culture. And so, it was just a really interesting moment for me to realize that everything's about the people. And in the service industry, our talent is critical. It's the most important thing. And people buy people. So I would say that our key to our success and the way that we're going to grow is getting really talented, smart people. And for our leadership team to stand on the shoulders of giants and let those talented people grow, nurture them, and make sure they have a pathway for future growth in our organization so we can retain them and we can continue to grow.
This really mimics a lot of the conversations I've had before with previous guests that have been on the show. CEOs of fast growth companies know that they can't do it alone. It's all about their people. And in fact, they will say that their employees are more important than anything else inside the world. I know that's kind of crazy because it takes customers and all that stuff to move forward, but employees, it's so much harder to find good employees and keep them than it is to find customers. Do you find that?
So true. Yeah, so true. Especially now. I mean, post-COVID, there's a talent war out there. I mean, talent acquisition is just critical. And keeping the good talent you have, and helping them grow is so important.
Well, let's talk about that for a second. Keeping talent. I think a lot of companies out there are looking for the magic bullet. And I've said that there's not one thing. You have to do a lot of things right to keep the talented people. What do you pay attention to as a leader of a fast growth company to keep people?
Well, one of the things we do is professional development. So investing in our team members and really making sure that their career goals and their career and growth opportunities are really put into a plan for them. And so that they know that we will invest in them. So, we've had a couple of team members recently go to different conferences and went to attend, workshops and things like that. And so providing an opportunity, whether it's in Austin, Texas, or it's in your own backyard, letting those team members be able to get on a plane and go and afford them opportunity to be able to take time off work and learn and grow. I think the other thing is providing career pathways for growth so that team members understand that, if they want to grow with the organization, that they can, and they're a big part of our growth. Try to be really transparent too about our vision and our strategy. So we have a strategic plan, and culture and our people are one of the cornerstones of that plan. So it's not just about your revenue. It's not just about your sales plan. It's about the people and making sure you're continuing to invest in them and helping them grow. Because I think if you invest in your people, then you're really investing in your organization, and it's going to continue to thrive.
You had talked about the aspects of culture with me before we hit the recorder on, and I know it's probably some good content, but I'm going to ask you to go back to that, because it really is, I think, something that I think a lot of leaders don't understand, is the importance of values specifically. First, what are your values, and then why are they so important to the culture that you're creating there?
So our values, we only have 3. And, at one point in time as an entrepreneur, I thought we needed a whole wall of values. We need 8 or 10 or something, but the reality is people can't remember that. They remember things in 3s. The power of 3 is real. And so we have 3 values. It's purpose, passion, and partnership. And we don't hire anyone who's not passionate. You have to love what you do. And in the creative space, it's so important. Ideation and brainstorming and collaborating and really being excited about what you do, getting excited about your partners too, and helping solve their business challenges. So passion is a key component to what we do. And then purpose is really important, I think, for all of us to have purpose in the work that we do, purpose in our lives. And so, and I think that's especially true for the younger generations. And so we really focus on purpose-driven work. A lot of our work is in healthcare. A lot of our work is in agriculture and the people who feed the world. We do a lot of work in verticals and spaces that make a big difference in people's lives. And so having purpose in the work you're doing is critical, I think, to your success. And then finally, partnership. So it's not just our name, it's how we operate, it's our business process. We do workshops, we work alongside our partners, and partnership is about having partnership inside your organization too. People feeling empowered to be partners with their colleagues and with people outside of our walls and inside our walls. So all 3 of those values really are driving our culture, and we've branded our culture as a culture of curiosity. And I can certainly expand more on that.
Now, Amanda's just talking about her values. Now, why do you have values? Well, I think you have values for many reasons. And one acronym that I've come up with lately is BED. I know it sounds weird, but just to help me remember the 3 most important reasons to have values. One is boundaries. You want to create some boundaries to support people as they go in the business, about the things that are going on inside the work that they're doing, how they're serving clients. Those boundaries are necessary. The values, the words with clarity provide some boundaries to them. Also, empowerment. The empowerment is they can look back to your values and to see how they should react in certain situations, how they should behave, how they should take care of a customer, for example, how they should take care of and solve a problem. You want people to feel empowered, and the values actually give them the boundaries they need through that process. And then finally, in the BED acronym, you've got boundaries, empowerment, and you also have decisions. If you really want people to think for themselves and make decisions, give them some boundaries about what's important. If proactiveness is important in your business, then make that a value or something similar, so that you are encouraging people to make decisions about being proactive and not being reactive. That's how I use this inside my own business and with my clients. There are many different ways you can use boundaries. I just wanted to highlight why they're so important, how they get used inside with these examples. So back to Amanda. I want to go into that because I think that's pretty interesting about branding culture. But here's a question that our audience, I think, should tune into. And this may be the secret sauce. And don't tell us anything you don't want to tell us. But when you're hiring people, are you looking for that culture fit, where the alignment with the values? If so, do you use a favorite question or something to see if someone is aligned with the way that you're thinking about values?
So in the vetting process and when you're bringing people on board, gosh, I wish that there was some kind of magical wand, right? That would be amazing. Yeah. I like to get to know the person. So I'm a strong believer in there's no professional and personal persona. You're one person. You take what happens at work home sometimes. And when you take what's going on in your home life to work, it's inevitable. And I think we all experienced that with COVID, right? The blend has never been more real. The lines are blurred and you're hiring a human being, one person, and all of the positives and negatives and all the attributes and what makes them tick. So just recently, actually, I'm a big Braves fan. Go Braves! Even though we didn't make it all the way this year, and we have season tickets as an organization. And I took someone that we were interviewing. She got to the final stages, and I took her to a Braves game. I said, let's have a beer together and let's have a conversation and get to know each other as people, because people want to buy people, right? People want to work with people they like and trust. And so trying to get people to kind of take off the suit, kind of take down your interview, game face and really just be who you are, because you want to be in a place, if you're interviewing, right, where you feel like you fit in and you can be who you are. And likewise, as an employer, we want people who want to be there, they want to be excited about the work they're doing. They're going to help drive positive change and really reinforce that positive culture that we're so hungry for. So trying to get people out of their shell, asking them a lot of questions. One of my favorite interview questions is asking somebody, what's something I need to know about you that's not on your resume? And getting people to open up and talk about their personal lives and what makes them tick and what gets them excited, because, some people work to live and some people live to work. And the reality is as an employer, you can't expect everyone to be as passionate about the business maybe as you are. So making sure that you're really pinpointing their passion areas and that you can fit them into the organization where they're going to be most happy, right? And really most fulfilled. So we've had situations with team members before where they felt like maybe this isn't what I want to do. I don't want to be in account service, right? Or maybe I don't want to be a developer. And I really love this organization. Is there another pathway for me here? And we've offered up professional development and training for those team members so they can learn a new skill set and stay with the organization. And I think that's what makes a positive culture, is when everyone's just really authentic and honest about what they want and what makes them excited to get up every day.
When you think about culture, I think that culture matters so much. And you've been describing, some of the things you guys do, and you even brand culture with curiosity. What does that even mean first?
It's funny, when we first started talking about the culture of curiosity, it didn't start there, actually. That's where we ended up. But we first started talking about, what do we really want here? And what we want is people to think. We want thinkers, right? We want people who are going to solve business challenges with ideation and creative solutions and creative communication techniques. And so when you think about that, you think, why? People who ask why. So I have a 6-year-old and she asks why a million times a day, right? And parents can relate to this. There's a period of time with your children that they ask why about everything, and they ask so many questions because that's how they're learning and growing. And at some point in our lives, we stop asking questions. We're used to just raising our hand in class. We're used to having to kind of stand in line. We're used to being told to be quiet, and we stop asking questions and we become less curious as we become adults. And so as a business owner, what I've seen is that people enter the workforce and they want to do a good job. They want to do the right thing. They want to be taskmasters and to-do lists, right? And they want to make sure they're doing a good job, but that's not going to create the best creative output, right? The greatest creative work, the greatest communications work, the best brain communications work that we're going to produce is by really curious, engaged team members who are learning about their partner's business in an intimate way. And so we started saying, well, maybe we should really get everyone to start asking why about everything. But why can be negative too. If you think about back to your child, potentially, if you're a parent or you have maybe a sibling that has a child and you're an aunt or an uncle, or you have a friend that has a child, if you're ever around a child, sometimes why can be negative, right? It can be sassy, it can be disrespectful or rude. So we realized that branding and kind of promoting a culture of why might not really be what we were intending, right? We don't want people to feel challenged or threatened. We want people to be in a trusted environment where they can be very curious so they can get to the best possible product. So we've engaged some consultants along the way, and we've had an amazing team embarking on this strategy and journey. And it's been over a year now. And you can see it when you go into the conference room. You can see it when you're on Zoom calls with people. You can see people starting to query and ask questions and feeling safe about being able to ask questions. Maybe they don't understand. Perhaps they need to dig deeper. And so it's really helped us, I think, elevate our creative product and our output, and our work is getting better because the team is digging in deeper by asking why. why, but being curious is really the heart of all of it.
Now, Amanda's just been talking about employees who think. I think a lot of leaders would agree with her that we want employees to think for themselves. We want them to see opportunities. We want them to look for places to improve processes. We want them to improve the way things work and optimize the experience with clients. We want them to think for themselves. So how do you encourage that? Well, one thing is you don't always make decisions for themselves. And in fact, you rarely make decisions for your people. If you really want them to think for themselves, then you let them make decisions. I've shared empowerment frameworks. I've shared different ways to do this, but I just want to be blunt with you here. I've worked with a lot of founders who are very good and successful at what they do, but their company hits a ceiling, a plateau, if you will, of growth because they failed to empower those others around them and get them to think. And I want to encourage you to not fall prey to that, to really let people think by not answering yourself and letting them think through the challenges. Even if you know the answer, be patient and let them think for themselves. Back to Amanda. I want to switch gears here as we begin to wrap up today. Amanda, I'm curious about how you see leadership. We've been talking about culture and people and the growth of the company, but what are the driving principles of leadership that keep you grounded?
So I believe leadership is about being in service and being in gratitude. And I've worked with some amazing leaders in my career, and I've worked with some really terrible ones too, right? You learn from both. But currently I'm working with an amazing leader of a healthcare organization, and he is such an incredible listener, and he leads by example. We just led some crisis communications work with Hurricane Ian, and he was sleeping on the floor in the healthcare system for nights on end, making sure he could be there with his team, with the healthcare system. That's servant leadership at its core. And so, being humble, knowing that none of us know everything and that we're constantly green and growing is so important. But also, I think surrounding ourselves with people like that remind us that it doesn't matter if you're the CEO of a healthcare system or if you're sweeping the floors. Being a leader is about leading and doing and people following, and they follow by seeing great examples. So, I never do anything that I wouldn't expect my team to do. I roll up my sleeves and jump right in, and I enjoy the work, so that makes it easy. But I think it's really important for your team to see you doing and leading, and no matter how large your organization gets, not forgetting where you came from and keeping your finger on the pulse of all of the great work that's being done by the team members on your team.
I love that answer. It's such a powerful way to see the world by just leading by example. So Amanda, you've had a really incredible interview here. I really appreciate your time, your wisdom around, your culture, what made you guys grow as fast. I look forward to seeing you guys grow much more and sharing this with our audience.
Thank you so much. Thanks for the opportunity, and best of luck to you and everyone listening and watching in.
What a great interview. I love having guests like Amanda on the show who are building a team that they're so proud of. Those team members are serving clients, and the business continues to grow. The details that I try to pull out of people is to help you be a better leader, to help you create the culture you want. All of the things we talked about values, about hiring, about professional growth and career plans are absolutely necessary. And it starts with you being the leader that your team deserves. If you have any questions about how we can help you, how what we do actually makes your business grow faster, just reach out to us at genehammett.com. And when you think of podcasts and you think of growth and leadership, think of Growth Think Tank. As always, lead with courage. We'll see you next time.